Hello and welcome to S.T.A.R Productions. I'm Max Desir and welcome to Spiritually Trained and Renewed Productions. Today in the S.T.A.R Productions studio, I have a treat for you. She is a gem here in Williamson County and nationally. I have Lynne in the house. Producer, director, screenwriter, singer, actor, business owner, talent developer, vocal coach. You could tell I'm getting tired. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. Max with S.T.A.R Productions, spiritually trained and renewed productions, where it's not enough to be talented, you have to be spiritually trained and renewed. Would you like to say hello to the people?
Yes, I would. Hi.
I have the wonderful Lynne with me here, and I know a lot of people are excited to hear all about you. So I'm super excited to find out a lot about you. If you would be able to tell us, number one, as always, who is Lynne?
Well, first, I'd like to say thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure.
Very excited to be here. And so you asked, who is Lynne? Well, I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio, and I moved to Nashville 17, 18 years ago, I think.
You beat me. I've been here for 11 years. All right.
And came here for the music industry. It was definitely music town then, and still is. And came here in search of the record deal, the big music contract.
Yeah.
And that's what got me to Nashville.
Fantastic. You know, you and I, we met almost 2 years ago. And when we did, I believe you were the president of Space. Is that a company that you're still involved with in Williamson County?
Well, unfortunately, we closed Space, but it had great intentions, and it was a nonprofit group that originated to try to bring a lot more awareness, a lot more of the performing arts, specifically to Spring Hill. Mm-hmm. And I think that not only did that group do that, but of course there's a lot of local arts groups here in Spring Hill. And I think that one of the issues that we had with that is that we had a really, really large goal of trying to get a very unique performing arts center built here in Spring Hill that that would not only be unique, but definitely help locally and help all of the local arts groups. And I think we just bit off a little bit more than we could chew. And so we decided to go ahead and close our doors, and all of us that were involved in that to try to branch out and help a lot of the other smaller arts groups that are here in town. And we gave a donation to one that has been around for quite some time by the name of SHAC, which is Spring Hill Arts Center. So
yeah. When I drive down on Main Street, I see the sign for SHAC.
Yeah.
So glad they're still open.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Spring Hill and the surrounding counties, what is being done? You probably would be someone who would know what's being done to preserve the arts here.
Well, Franklin's a big one, of course. Franklin has always done quite a bit, and they actually have a new performing arts center that they're doing that I still don't really know that much about. But I know that one thing that brought the interest to me to really focus and narrow down on my energy with Spring Hill is the fact that there is just so many talented people here. There's lots of film producers. There's lots of stage producers. There's tons of musicians. There's tons of dancers, tons of theater people. And as Spring Hill continues to grow, you're just bringing in more and more of a population of people that appreciate the arts and would really like to have the convenience of being right here in Spring Hill and view some of that right here locally. Nothing against, of course, going to downtown Nashville because that's all great too, but it would be nice to have more of that right here.
I know I do.
In our own backyard. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things, as I was researching for this interview, one of the things that I saw that you were involved with was a show called Soul Searchers.
Yes.
And I love the idea about it. I wanted to know, are you still involved with that? What is that project going through right now?
Yes, I am still involved with that, and that has been a great project. It originated because I do some work in film as well, and some other from film producers, camera guys that I had worked with on other projects happened to discover that we were all interested in paranormal and history too. And so we started meeting and discussing what we could possibly do with all that. And we just always thought that it would be a great idea to possibly put together a TV series that would not only include ghost hunting or paranormal stories, but also history. And Spring Hill, Williamson County has a ton of history and a ton of historic locations. And so we thought that that just would go very well together, that we could interest people in history that perhaps maybe a lot of people didn't even know existed here. And help get those stories out and those locations, of which so many of them are so beautiful, as well as the other. And so that's kind of what we started doing. We did have a little bit of difficulty in getting our foots in some of those doors. They're very expensive, well-kept properties. And so we decided to approach the local Spring Hill Historic Commission and ask them, with everything that with Spring Hill growing as much as it is, could they kind of partner with us, and we could also present to them all of that documentary footage that they could then keep on hand in case some of those properties start to change and grow with the city. And that ended up being a really great partnership. And you can find, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of those little excerpts anyway on the city website.
Wow.
If you go down through the Historic Commission link.
Wow. That's a project. When you go back on board, I'm excited to follow that and see where that goes. That'll be great.
Yeah, well,
Great
we're
to see.
hoping that we can make it into a TV series.
Sweet. Y'all stay tuned now. Now, one of the things I'm excited to talk to you about is your record label company,
Yes.
Sabre Music Entertainment. Please tell us about that record label.
Okay, well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a record label, to
Okay.
be honest with you. It kind of, it originated back in 1998 when things got really difficult down there on Music Row, and decided to push through my second CD by starting my own company and distributing it that way.
Yeah.
And in the process of over many, many years, I had a lot of musicians, a lot of bands coming to me and saying, it's so hard to find the right place to perform here in Nashville and get the right pay and all of that kind of stuff. So they started asking for my help to do that around the same time that I was forming this company. And also then started getting a lot of students coming my way that were, I say students because they still had a lot of growing to do, but they were very serious about a career in either music or theater. And so all of these little aspects started coming together as a whole of stage production, booking, management, voice lessons, artist development, you name it, everything it takes. I can't even go down the list because there's so much that needs to be done. And so that's basically how the company was formed, and it was started back in 1998 and still exists today. I currently am working with some really terrific artists that are wanting to get involved in the music industry, and I'm developing them, and also starting to work actually with another company because I'm also a single mom, so it's very difficult for me to kind of get my company over that hump by myself. And so I'm just beginning in 2018 to start to work with another company as well.
Will this be a partnership?
In a sense, I will be doing actually A&R and development for this record label. You may have heard of it. They're called BAM Records.
I've heard of BAM.
And so I'm very excited about that. And so definitely want, any great artists who are very serious about their career to contact me. And
ooh, nice offer. Sweet. That's awesome. So you are a busy woman. Obviously, you are a producer, you are a director, an actor, you are a vocal coach, you're an event planner. I would love to talk a little bit about each of these things, and I know time is not going to permit, but let's touch on a few of these things.
Okay.
Your life as an actress, it's been a very fulfilling one. You've graced a lot of stages. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit, for those of us who don't know, tell us a little bit about your life as an actress.
Okay, well, I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and managed to finish high school early. We didn't quite have the requirements then as we do now, but managed to finish high school early, but wanted to graduate with all of my friends when I was supposed to. So I started going to a film career school for part of the day, and also went and helped at the Dayton Playhouse, which was the big local theater group and playhouse there in Dayton. And so that's how that kind of got started, and that's always been like my first love, was acting. And I always seemed to get the parts where you sang, but but that was my first love. And so then went on to study musical theater at Ohio University.
Perfect. So musical theater. And so would you say that you have a preference between a straight play and doing musical theater? Would musical theater be the first choice for you?
Yeah, probably.
Singers.
Probably. I mean, I had many, many years of dance training, and I love music, of course. I love to sing. So, yeah, I'd have to say that would be my preference.
Super. Are we expecting to see you on any stage upcoming projects?
Possibly.
Sweet.
I still perform myself.
Sweet.
I do very much enjoy, help develop other artists and producing and that kind of thing as well.
Nice.
But once you're an artist, you're always an artist, and
I
you
agree.
can't stop.
I agree. So in terms of a producer, I have seen online where you have produced music videos. So do you also produce music and music videos?
Yes, there's one very not too far ago that I did. Let's see, what year was that? 2016, I believe, is when we did it. I was asked by a couple local people here in Spring Hill if I could write a song because they had found Spring Hill's original fire truck.
Ooh.
And it was in bad shape, and it didn't run, and it was pretty run down. And they decided to put a whole group of people together to see if they could raise some money to get the fire truck refurbished and get it up and running so that they could use it to teach fire safety in the schools. And part of them wanting to do that is they thought, wouldn't it be great if we had a song about it? So they asked me to write a song, and it's called Fire Bell. Which is what they nicknamed the truck. And we were able to raise $15,000
Sweet.
to get the truck refurbished. And so it's still in great shape. They still have it at the fire station. Along with that, once I wrote the song, everyone really liked the song. And they said, wouldn't it be great if we could do a video? I was like, well, we can. So that was a great, great experience because we used all local locations. We used all local people, some artists, some just regular citizens in the video. And it was just a very heartwarming project to work on. And if I'm not mistaken, I think everybody really had a good time doing it.
Sweet. So you are one of those artists who probably has graced many, many stages, not only here, but nationally. And I know that you direct as well. Could you tell us a little bit about the plays you've directed and how's that going? Is that something you still like to do?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I still like to do that. It's kind of a toss-up between film and stage. I like both. But I have started locally in Spring Hill, assisting another friend of mine who is another local director, producer, Dion Collins, and started out working with her because when I first moved to this area of town, I didn't really know too many people out here yet. And so started working with her and did more like vocal coaching and that kind of thing. And but since then and through Space and all of that, we've produced, Moments of Broadway, which was a great fundraising effort for performing arts. And I think we ended up having something like 120 entertainers in the show. I think.
Awesome.
It was like six to eight different local arts groups were involved. So
big.
that was it was it was a little bit difficult. That was quite large in size and getting all of those people together. But once again, really great experience and a great turnout for that show. So that's one that we did. Worked with Dion on a show called S.T.A.R, which is another show that she wrote, which is a local story, a play that she wrote about the local story that took place during Civil War. It took place right in Ferguson Hall here in Spring Hill.
Wow.
That's what it's based on. The musical was based on that. She also adapted the Nutcracker from the ballet to a musical play.
Ooh.
And we actually did that performance that I assisted her on in, it's now called Homestead Manor, but I forget what the original name was, but that was an old plantation home. And I think it was a restaurant right before that they had made it into a restaurant. Well, we used that space between the time of it being the original restaurant and the restaurant that it is now. And it was another great idea because people that would come and see the show, they would go and they would see one scene in each room at the same time that they're getting to tour this historic location.
That's pretty cool.
And we wanted to turn that into like a big, this side of town's, Opryland Christmas kind of thing. And so, but then it ended up getting bought and turned into Homestead Manor, which is a great location too. But yeah, that was another really fun experience.
Pretty cool. You are a casting director as well. Could you give us some pointers that an actor coming to audition for you, what would help him book the deal as a casting director? What are you looking for?
Yes, I can. You know, I mean, there's some criteria that just has to be there, as in film or even in live theater. That, you know, if you just don't fit the part, you don't fit the part.
Amen.
I mean, it's that simple. There's nothing you
No
can
hard
do
feelings.
about that.
Amen to that.
Don't take it personally.
That's it.
You know, there's nothing you can do about that. But if you do and you come to the audition, then my recommendation is, you know, stay positive. Always let anyone that you're auditioning for, let them know how reliable you are, how much you're interested in being a part of the project. I would say also follow directions.
Mm-hmm. Big one.
So, because of course talent matters, but at the same time, I really think all those other things are just as important, if not more so.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all, I hope you're learning something today. All right, so now singer and vocal coach. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Because I believe you've had 1 or 2 CDs out.
2 CDs.
2 CDs out. So there is much you could tell us about the whole singing world and how a struggling singer watching us right now could get their ducks in a row to get that battle going, because it's a battle in Music City.
Yeah, well, you know, the industry has changed quite a bit in the last few years. So it's unfortunately become a much more difficult industry to get involved in. It still costs just as much money as it ever did, and it's much more difficult to recoup that money back. So, but on a positive note, you know, everybody loves music, and everybody is always interested in hearing, you know, something different or the new thing or whatever, you know, and so there's always going to be a demand for it regardless of what, you know, avenues the industry takes. And so I don't know, my advice would be is if you are serious about a career in the music industry and as a vocalist, then you just need to keep plugging away at it. You need to keep practicing, keep trying new things, you know, keep getting out there and be seen and meet people.
And get yourself some vocal lessons. That helps.
That helps, of course, but and meeting people. Because, you know, the old adage of being at the right place at the right time, who you know, all that kind of stuff, it matters. It really does. And you can't do it alone. And Nashville is still a great town to meet all the right people in. I think there's even more of the right people flocking here. So so it's easy to get out and meet other people that can help you in your career. I think that would be my best advice.
That's good. What are the name of your 2 CDs that came out?
Let's see. It's been a little while. So the first one is Live to Love, and the second one is Feel My Heart.
And what would be a good place for us to buy these?
They're still available on CD Baby.
Good, good. So you
and who knows, down the road there might be another one.
Good. It's good to hear. So you've traveled nationally as a singer. You've gone from town to town. And as I speak to singers, they always give me the reality is not as rosy as a lot of people think it is. Sometimes you have to bounce from this hotel room to that hotel
Oh
room.
yeah, it's not.
And
It's not glamorous.
sometimes you're not getting the right payment you should be getting.
Yeah, no, it's not glamorous. It's not glamorous at all. One thing I will say, don't mean to sound derogatory, but if you are coming to Nashville to become a performer, be prepared to not perform that much or not get paid for it. The payment for here is not the greatest because there's so many artists here. You can get paid if you're just doing it for the paycheck, then probably go someplace else, honestly.
I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
I left New York in 2007 as an actor because of the plethora of actors like me that was there. I didn't get the best gig. I got most of my gigs here in Nashville just
Right.
because the competition wasn't as much. So what you're saying is right.
Right.
You got to come ready.
Yeah. And but on the other hand, if you do come ready and you're looking to work with a great company or record in a great studio, then Nashville's got it hands down. There's no doubt about it. So they're available on CD, baby. They were pushed out in the Americana genre of music. I come from Ohio, so I have a lot of blues background, a lot of R&B background, a lot of rock and roll background in there, but which is probably a little bit more where I'll lean if I decide to go back into the studio again myself. But I was also the first artist to release an MP3 CD, and that was
Sweet.
quite an experience because I remember when they had Tower Records down there on West End. And they had my big display out with MP3 CD, Ricky Lynne, and I'd be there to restock my CDs, and I'd see people go past it. What's an MP3? So it's kind of funny, but
Well-
always keeping yourself abreast of where the market's going.
Cool.
Is really important because that helped me with that too.
Cool. You do event planning as well. That's something I'm interested to know. What kind of event planning do you do? Because somebody might need some help out there.
Right. Well, I'm not an event planner in that sense, really, to be honest with you. I have a big culinary background, which I think a lot of artists probably do. I started out waitressing and all of that, and managed to work in some of the nicer 5-star hotels and restaurants and private clubs and stuff like that. So really learned how to cook a lot and what all is available in the food industry of things. For a short while, I was working for a company doing event planning, but a lot of as you can imagine, productions, a lot of times, there's a lot of event planning. It's not just about the performances.
Yeah.
And like the one of the shows that Space did was Moments of Broadway, and we had a full dinner and everything there as
Sweet.
well.
So that skill came in handy for you to plan this whole thing out.
Right.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. The different projects you've worked on, do you have a favorite? Or different film or theater? Do you have a favorite that stands out to this day? What is that role you enjoy
It's
getting?
the one that's coming up.
Sweet. Could you tell us about that project, please?
Well, I was fortunate enough to work with a man by the name of Bob Pondillo, who is heavily involved over at MTSU in the film department, and worked with him on one of his short films that is titled Happy New Year, Mr. Cates. And not only is Bob a terrific person, great guy, great writer, great film producer, all of his crew on the entire project was just so pleasurable to work with.
That's always good to know.
And it turns out that film short won a lot of awards. And so now In 2018, we're planning on doing the full-length feature film
Feature film. Woo.
right here in Nashville.
Sweet.
So look out for the auditions.
So you're in post-production right now? Or you're in
No,
pre-production right now?
Well, yeah, and it's gonna probably not actually do the shoot until May. So
Audition coming out soon.
yeah, March-ish, April probably.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So how do we contact you? Obviously, you have a lot to offer, and a lot of people who are growing in their different skills can benefit from what you have to give us. How do we contact you? How do we stay in touch with you, follow you, like you, to make sure that we know what's going on and we get the help we need from you when we need it?
Well, my website is currently being worked on. So I won't give that address because it may even change. But I'm on all of social media. You know, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on what else is there? LinkedIn.
Okay.
I don't know. Am I missing some? But
those are the major ones.
Yeah, so that's a good way to connect with me. Probably Facebook. I'm on a little bit more than some of the other ones.
So they just look up Ricky Lynne.
Ricky Lynne.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's Lynnne.
Right.
Okay.
With an E on the end.
Cool.
And then my cell phone, honestly, it's 615-585-5001. And that's, you can contact me that way through email, which is musicandstage@hotmail.com is my email address. And, you know, like I said, with what I'm looking to do here in 2018, working with this BAM Records, you know, I'm looking for more new artists that are ready to go and really need the help of, you know, promotion, recording, distribution, all of that kind of stuff.
So if somebody comes my way, says, you know, I got the talent, I would love to get into this industry, I just pick up the phone and call you and said, this is the woman you need to talk to.
Right.
Sweet.
That's right.
Sweet.
And if you need vocal coaching and artist development, I'm still doing a lot of that. I have usually minimal spots left because I have some artists that I've been working with for quite some time. So, you know, scheduling, we'd have to figure something out. But I'm still accepting new artists to work on.
That's good
with
news.
that too.
That's good news. So with all that talent, and all the great things you realized so far, do you feel like you've done everything on the bucket list that you wanted to do?
No.
Okay. what is out there for you?
Well, I don't know what might be out there for me. I come from a very creative family. My father is a watercolor painter, and my mom is a writer. And my mom released her very first novel last year. Wow. And I would love to produce that into a film.
Sweet.
But I also have some other great film ideas that I would like to see get produced. And but most importantly is I really want to create that piece of art that is really gonna have really make a difference. And have a great deal of importance behind it. I felt that when I worked on the Fireball project. I felt like that, you know, it was more important what I felt coming out of everybody working together on that project and what the end result was with having a piece of history restored that was also being used, you know, to teach children about fire safety. And that kind of payback is incredible.
I'm with you there. That's important. So as a well-rounded woman in the entertainment industry, music, people see you and the amount of success you've had. Oftentimes, they don't know that you've paid your dues. You had to do quite a bit, work your tail off to get where you are. So, what is your last word to the artist, the director, the producer, the actor, somebody who's walking in the footstep that you have walked on and continue to walk on, and they're discouraged, they want to give up on the dream, whatever that dream is. If you would tell them what is that thing that's in your heart to just keep them going,
Okay.
talk to them.
Well, I mean, I have been doing this for quite some time, and there has been a lot of ups and downs. I managed to, get the record deal and then lose it because timing was bad. Um, I managed to get my foot in the right doors, and sometimes that panned out, and sometimes it didn't. You're constantly surrounded by other talented people and maybe question yourself. You're surrounded by everyday life of difficult things that you have to go through financially, relationships. I've been through a lot of that, and um, and I've made some mistakes. But I can honestly say that being true to yourself, if if that's what you feel is important, if that's what you feel like you're being driven to do, then you need to never give that up, because we only live once. And if you feel that drive, then there's a reason for that. And so you can't give up on that one thing, because if you do, then you'll regret it.
Wow. Wow. I hope you all heard that. Wherever you are, don't give up. You heard it from the woman herself, who has done pretty much everything that's out there entertainment wise and business. Well, anything else you want to say before we close today? Because I know we've talked about a lot, and I always talk a lot with my guests for the first time. Second time around will be a shorter interview, but I wanted them to know more about you and your brand and what you have out there. Anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I just really appreciate it.
It
and
is my
appreciate
pleasure.
you having me here.
Absolutely.
I've really enjoyed it. And
Awesome. It's a pleasure having you. I'm glad you've answered the call. I've been tracking her down for a few months now, so finally got a hold of her. We have our guest today, Ricky Lynne. You could follow her on all social networks: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and pretty much soon, by the time this interview comes out, she might have the website back up, in which case we're going to put the website on the link below for you as well. My name is Max Desir with S.T.A.R Productions, spiritually trained and renewed productions, where it's not enough to be talented, you have to be spiritually trained and renewed. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.